What's cracking? So what you think about all this? Shit, we looking good, right? Look, this is our business. Man, everybody I asked about setting this thing up, they all pointed straight at you.
GTA Online The Contract launched on the 15th of December 2021, introducing a brand new storyline featuring returning single-player character Franklin, as well as super ultra well-known and famous rapper and producer Dr. Dre. To quickly sum up The Contract, this DLC is a single-player experience that's been shoved into GTA Online, and whilst the single-player aspect is great and it's undeniable, it's only dragged down by it being in GTA Online. It's both nostalgic, but very much so a GTA Online experience with all the flaws that entails. It's a very weird feeling. To begin this DLC experience though, you have to buy one of the new properties, the Agency, which was added with this DLC, which can be bought in one of 4 locations, which range from 2 million at the cheapest to 2.8 million at the most expensive. Unlike other DLCs, all locations actually place quite well within the city, so it's best to go with the cheapest option unless you really need another spot. Of course, however, as with any other DLC, the Agency has numerous upgrade options you can purchase. Aside from customization options, you can buy the Armory for $720,000. In here you can buy ammo, change your loadout, as well as customize your weapons, and upgrade them to Mark II. You also need to purchase this upgrade if you want access to the unique weapons added to this DLC, but we'll talk about more of those a little bit later. You can also buy the personal quarters for $275,000, which will also allow you to set your spawn within the Agency. This is useful if you need to do missions quickly or if you have most of your vehicles in the garage within the Agency. However, the most interesting upgrade for the Agency is the Vehicle Workshop for $800,000, which allows you to upgrade your vehicles like any other Los Santos customs, but more importantly, it allows you to use the missile lock-on jammer and remote control options for Armani Tech vehicles. Now, you may be wondering what these are exactly, but we'll talk about those a little bit later. For now, I just want to talk about the Agency and what it represents. You obviously need to buy this property before you can access the missions and story content, which is pretty annoying and quite disappointing. All this acts as is an unnecessary paywall that prevents players looking to enjoy the story content from accessing it by themselves. Rockstar could very easily come up with a different approach, but I feel as if this decision was purely just made to push people into buying shark cards with real money, just so they can buy the Agency and access the story content, which is a shame of course. But nevertheless, let's talk about the person we're all here for. Franklin.
If you want my advice, give this shit up.
I'm a hustler that made it big. Big house, nice cars, damn man, I miss getting these fucking hands dirty.
Many years have passed since the end of GTA 5 single player. After pulling off the Union Depository score, he's looking to create a new business, one that caters to the celebrities of Vinewood, which focuses on helping them with whatever issues they may have. One of Franklin's associates has reached out to Franklin about a potential new VIP client, his friend, Dr. Dre. He's lost his phone and it's fallen into the wrong hands. This wouldn't be an issue otherwise, but his phone contains unreleased music demos that Dr. Dre doesn't want to get leaked to the public. As you can imagine, Franklin's new business has a lot riding on this huge job, and you are here to help him. As we know, you help Franklin purchase the new Agency and have a quick tour around the building, meeting Lamar, who you've worked with a lot previously, Armani, who is a new character who is the hacker of the operation, and Chop, the best boy in all of GTA Online, and the sole reason this DLC is an automatic 10 out of 10. In all seriousness, you get to work doing some odd jobs to get yourself established. From your office computer, you can choose from a variety of different contracts, with the VIP contract, the main mission storyline, being grayed out and unavailable for now. But for now, let's just talk about the basic security contracts for a second. These security contracts are free mode missions that can be done from your office computer at any time. The first being professional, no, not that professional, ranging from 30 to 45k. There's also specialist, which ranges from 45 to 60k, and ending with specialist plus, which ranges from 60 to 70k. The first security contract you can choose from is recover valuables, which consists of being told a building in which you have to retrieve an item, kill everybody inside, and bring the item back to the Agency. The next is gang termination, which consists of heading to an area and simply eliminating the highlighted targets. The next is rescue operation, where you must retrieve and protect a client and deliver them to the highlighted safe house before the time runs out or their health drops to 0. The next is vehicle recovery, which is simply grabbing the highlighted vehicle and driving it to the waypoint on the minimap. The last security contract is asset protection, which simply consists of protecting the green boxes in the area for 10 minutes. Enemies will try and destroy these boxes, so it's up to you to try and keep them safe. You need at least one box to complete the mission, but having more intact boxes at the end of the contract will give you a higher payout, so it's worth making sure they're all safe at the end. Beyond these security contracts, you also have access to a new side activity, the payphone hits, which are basically assassination missions. These are actually quite fun, and quite Hitman-esque actually. In these missions, you're given a target and a special way in which you must eliminate them. For doing the basic job, you get 15,000, but for accomplishing the bonus objective, you get an additional 85,000, so they're absolutely well worth doing. It's noteworthy to point out that these missions actually have a 20-minute cooldown, so you can't just spam them back to back. That was a lot to talk about. But before we get any further into the storyline itself, how about we talk about the new toys you'll get to use during this DLC? Let's talk about the new weapons first. To start with, we'll look at the EMP grenade launcher, which will set you back $546,000. Now, before this DLC released, there was actually a lot of hype surrounding this new weapon. Could this new EMP launcher take on things like the Oppressor Mark II, which is of course considered massively overpowered? How will this EMP launcher perform against ground targets? Will it be overpowered? Wait, will it actually render all ground vehicles useless? No. Now, whilst there are some niche moments in which this weapon can be used, it's largely kind of pointless in the majority of situations. Look at it this way. If someone in a car is driving towards you and you want to eliminate that target before they can kill you, you could easily just use an RPG or a regular grenade launcher to destroy it permanently. If you use the EMP launcher, it simply disables it from moving for a few moments. The issue of that car being dangerous still exists since you didn't destroy it from the start. That driver still has the potential to kill you, so wouldn't it have just been better to kill the target from the beginning? The way to look at the EMP launcher is that if you can get a hit with the EMP launcher, you should be able to get a hit with an RPG or simply a regular grenade launcher, which will be better than disabling it since destroying it straight out will prevent you from dying altogether. I'd say avoid grabbing this weapon unless you really want to. Right now, it's not really a necessity. Save your money and perhaps spend it somewhere else. So, what about the stun gun? The stun gun costs $326,000 and is kind of fun. It could really never be considered completely viable in a fight, but when you do get a hit on somebody and they fall flailing on the ground, it's pretty funny, if anything. And you technically do get a free kill, since when they're on the floor, they're unable to fight back. Very nice. One thing to make note of is that the stun gun has a very long cooldown, so the player you've shot with the stun gun has enough time to get back up before you can get another shot off. This is very important since it prevents it from being an overpowered weapon, and instead it's just simply a tool you can use to have fun. I'd say you should probably get it if you have the money. It's quite fun, it's a nice tool to have when you need it, so you may as well buy it. But if you are just starting out, I wouldn't say it's an absolute buy. Finally, we have the heavy rifle, which will set you back $414,000. Now, this weapon is in a little bit of a weird position. It's not exactly bad, it's actually quite good, but there are weapons that already exist that are slightly better, and obviously much cheaper. A fully upgraded special carbine is $75,000. Why would you ever need to buy this heavy rifle over the special carbine? It's kinda just a waste of money. I'd actually completely avoid this one altogether. You'll never actually really need it. Now, of course, with all that being said, the weapons you can buy are simply just one side of the new toys in this DLC. We need to talk about the new vehicles. Now, of course, there are many vehicles that have been added in this DLC, with a lot of them being simply passable, basic vehicles that can be fun to customise or drive. But these are pretty simple and not very noteworthy. But of course, the biggest, most important vehicles to take note of, the ones that are changing the game, are the Amani Tech vehicles. Now, Amani Tech is a set of unique upgrades for certain vehicles within the agency. On release, there are 4 vehicles that can be upgraded with this Amani Tech. These are the Jubilee, the Deity, the Champion, and the Buffalo. There is also the Patriot Mil-Spec and the Granger, but these are a part of the drip feed content that comes after the release. Just know that all these vehicles can be equipped with the Amani Tech. For the most part, it's simply down to personal preference as to which vehicle you choose to upgrade. Personally, I like the Buffalo and the Champion, simply because they're quite fast and nimble, but you may like a different one. There aren't really any bad choices to choose from, so just choose whichever you prefer most. But with this being said, let's get into the upgrades. First and foremost, we have the armor upgrade, which once equipped, enables the vehicle to withstand 5 RPGs and 12 homing missiles. Now, this by itself is pretty cool and puts you in a good position to fight other vehicles, but there's a different new upgrade we can use on these vehicles. The Missile Lock-On Jammer. Now, as the name would suggest, the Missile Lock-On Jammer prevents any and all missiles from locking onto your vehicle. Now, why is this so good? Well, in a world where the Oppressor Mark II reigns supreme with its ultra-accurate homing missiles, pairing this incredibly durable armor with the ability to prevent all missiles from automatically locking onto you, you end up with a vehicle that's practically immune to the effects of vehicles such as the Oppressor Mark II. It's the perfect counter. Like how rock smashes scissors, the combination of the Amani Tech armor and Missile Lock-On Jammer completely nullifies any effect the Mark II has upon you. It's absolutely the perfect defense people have been asking for. Overall, it's an absolutely amazing addition by Rockstar. Now finally, we have the remote control vehicle option. This upgrade enables you to remotely drive your Amani Tech equipped vehicle by itself, essentially turning a regular vehicle into one big remote control car. Whilst this can be pretty fun to use, I feel as if this is more of a gimmick and doesn't even come close to offering the same amount of utility in comparison to the Missile Lock-On Jammer. Since you can't equip the Missile Lock-On Jammer and the remote control option at the same time, you have to choose, and 9 times out of 10, it'd be more useful for you to use the Missile Lock-On Jammer. So ultimately, I'd avoid the remote control option and opt for a vehicle where you have armor plating and the Lock-On Jammer. Overall, I'd say it's a much better option. But now that we've talked about the weapons and vehicles you'll be using in this DLC, let's finish up with the storyline and main mission. Let's get back with Franklin and Dr. Dre and finish up the storyline and main missions. After completing a few security contracts, Franklin will phone you, the player, about a potential contract for a VIP client. You go down to the Vinewood golf course to meet with Dr. Dre to discuss the issue. However, whilst talking, 2 other golfers are irritating Dre, so you're instructed to deal with them. He says that if you're able to handle this issue for him, you can help him get back his stolen phone, which contains his unreleased music. So, you go off to deal with the golfers, which you promptly do by abbying them with a golf club. Franklin then says he'll be in touch. For the next mission, you head down to the agency. Amani, the hacker of the operation, attempts to remote access the phone so she can track its location, but Dre's phone has a firewall on it, and this prevents her from tracking the phone. She is out of ideas to track the phone, aside from one: breaking into the FIB building to use their mass surveillance program to find it. Well, this idea is discussed up until Chop walks in having gotten high off Lamar's weed. As you can see, Chop is well and truly and utterly baked. This is so sad. This mission is quite fun but pretty simple. You use a helicopter to land on the roof of the FIB building and break in through the skylight. You then proceed to the computer where you install the backdoor access into the surveillance program. You defend it until it's completed, then you escape. Either with the helicopter you use to get inside the building, or skydiving off the building altogether with a parachute. Either way though, with that, this mission is complete. Later on, after this mission's over, however, you are alerted by Franklin and Amani that there have been 3 leaks from Dre's phone that have gotten out to the public, and it's up to you to make sure they don't spread any further. Each of the 3 leaks has 3 steps to complete them, totaling in 9 missions overall for this section of the main storyline. You have the Nightlife leak, the High Society leak, and the South Central leak. These missions are pretty simple but actually are quite fun. They're very reminiscent of single player missions, and you'll likely enjoy them a lot, even if they don't have too much depth. After you've prevented all the leaks from Dre's music, Franklin and Imani reveal that it is in fact a rival musician, Johnny Guns, who has Dre's phone. You are instructed to deliver Dre's car to him, but before that can happen, a shootout ordered by Johnny Guns breaks out at Dre's studio, where you have to protect him and prevent his attackers from killing Dre. After the situation becomes safe, Dre invites you over to a studio recording session, where you get to watch him create some new music. Very nice. Now, with that, we get on to the final mission of the DLC. You are instructed to head where Johnny Guns was last located and wipe him and his gang out. Once you arrive at the LSIA hangar, you sweep through the building until you reach Johnny, where you shoot him and Dre takes his revenge. Now that the job has been completed fully, Dre's phone has been recovered and the leaks are under control. Dre asks you to drive him to the country club whilst treating you to one of his new songs. Once you arrive, he boards the helicopter to leave Los Santos and rewards you with $1 million for your hard work, with Dre flying off into the sunset. The overall main storyline of this DLC has been completed. Now, to give a general overview of the DLC, I think this DLC is a huge step in the right direction. We're given new missions that tie into the single player and feature well-known celebrities and beloved characters. We get some new great vehicle options with the Amani Tech upgrades. And whilst they're not amazing, we do get some new weapons, as well as the clothing options and masks we all unlock too. There definitely is a lot to love here. However, the saddest part about all this is that the good is only dragged down by it being a GTA Online experience. We all know that there are so many issues with GTA Online, so when you put a great experience into that environment, it's only natural that its enjoyment gets dragged down somewhat. Take the security contracts for example. These are free mode based missions, so any issues with free mode, like god mode glitches, modders and poor balancing, will also affect these missions. It feels as if this DLC was always meant to be a single player add-on, where you will play as Franklin and complete these new missions. But because GTA Online is more profitable, that idea was used for GTA Online instead. I think if this was a single player DLC, I think it would have made more sense. But sadly, overall, we're living in a world where I don't feel as if Rockstar will ever introduce a new single player DLC, which is sad of course. But what we've been given with the contract, despite all the flaws with GTA Online itself, the contract is a great enjoyable piece of content, and that shouldn't be taken away from it. Even though the best parts about this DLC are the single player aspects, despite everything. I'd rather have much more of these DLCs added than any other into GTA Online. Thanks for getting to the end of this critique. I know it was a pretty long one, but hopefully you enjoyed of course. The next episode in this series is going to cover the launch of GTA Online itself, and from there we can take a look at all the DLCs in chronological order. Be sure to like and subscribe and all that stuff. But with that being said, goodbye.